Washington, D.C., in May of 1974, was consumed with one subject, Watergate. The hearings, all of the issues had created this atmosphere about surrounding Richard Nixon and his presidency, and questions about whether he would be able to survive in the job. Would he be impeached? And as these issues all came to a head over the next few months, I was there. I wasn't involved in any way in the political deliberations in the White House, but I would be walking by individuals who were, and staff members who were taking part. The Vice President of the United States, Gerald Ford, who had been appointed to the job when Spiro Agnew had to resign, his office was right below ours. I would walk down the grand staircase every night on my way going home, and I'd go past Ford's office. And as the situation came to a final head in August, I remember sensing that something was imminent when, as I walked past the office, there are now 2 or 3 Secret Service agents outside the door instead of the usual one. And finally, when Nixon saw that his situation was untenable, he was advised in meetings that the top leaderships of the Republican Party, including the vice president, could no longer support him, and he realized it was resign or be impeached. And Nixon addresses the country on August 8th and announces that he will resign the office the following day. And so as I come to work on the morning of August 9th, 1974, and I would get off the bus down at Constitution Avenue and start to walk up toward the White House, there was a moving van parked at the back door of the White House, a visible scene where every formal head of state who visits lands in the helicopter. There it's a moving van to take the president's family, their clothes, their belongings, just like anyone else who's leaving. What an ignominious sign of disgrace that the president was now leaving in. As I got to my office, the word came that the president would be giving a final farewell address in the East Room of the White House, and if you had a White House pass, you were invited to go. And because there were very few people in Washington who wanted to be there among political figures. Of course, the president's cabinet was there. So there I was, along with other NSC staff, kind of squeezed in a corner, in the southeast corner of the East Room. The White House musical ensemble plays Hail to the Chief, and the President Nixon, still president, walks in with his wife Pat, who was ashen, and followed by their 2 daughters and their husbands. And Nixon steps up to the microphone. Oh, there must have been 100 photographers arrayed in front of him. And as he starts to speak, you hear this click, 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 just endless clicking. I'd never heard it before. It sounded like it might be locusts eating a tree during some sort of swarm. But it was the constant, all of the cameras going off one after another, taking pictures. Nixon gives this speech. He finishes, he turns and leaves, escorted by Vice President Ford. And then they go out, walk down the stairs, out to the back where the moving van had been, now gone. And they board the helicopter Nixon makes one last, he has this sort of characteristic wave that he would do, and gets on the helicopter. Wanting to see this, I stepped out onto one of the first floor balconies, and I'm standing there kind of peering, trying to get a glimpse of this. To my right is Secretary of Defense Jim Schlesinger. He's about 6'6". He could see everything. To my left was a cook and a gardener. The cook still had his chef hat on. The gardener is in his sort of dirty work clothes. They're kind of jumping up in the air trying to see the scene. The helicopter starts, comes up, and it starts to take off to the south over the White House lawn to go to Andrews Air Force Base. And there's a moment when suddenly the helicopter is juxtaposed between the Washington Monument on one side and the Jefferson Memorial on the other. And it occurred to me, here's Nixon, he's flanked by Washington, by Jefferson. He's there for a moment, and then Nixon is gone, but Washington and Jefferson remain.